not to verbally interrupt me. It makes the job so much easier. Our Readers Workshop time is up. Can scholars please make sure that all workstations are carefully put away on the rug, and scholars are showing me they're ready to go to lunch. Let's see how quickly and quietly we can do this. Go.
Now that we've seen the video, I want you to turn and talk and focus on the question, what did you yield from the video? Spend about 2 to 3 minutes. What did you yield from the video? Would anyone like to share? Would anyone like to share what they got from the video? I'll take some random. Would anyone like to share?
What I liked about the video was her terms that she used, scholars and knowledge for college. I really like those terms because it shows like the kids where they are going. With my kids in the class, teaching special ed, I have a lot of groups. So the independent piece is pretty hard for my group of kids, but we do get them to do independent work at times.
Anyone else?
We talked about routines and being able to just implement those routines, like how she stated that she just would one station at a time, that she worked it, and how much time will we have in the classroom to do that.
Anyone else?
All right, we talked about a couple things that I thought were important. One was if you've modeled it and it's working for a few weeks, then you notice that the management's not quite working, it's okay to stop and go back and go back and remodel it, repractice it, gradual release. But we also talk about the reflective piece. That's really important, is especially the younger grades. They can't sit for an hour at one time. They may only be able to start at 5 minutes. So then you may have to pull them back to that whole group, and that's a good time to reflect on, you know, what they did, how did it go, what do we need to do maybe differently, and they have to build stamina. They can't just start out, you know, that strong right away.
All right, so we, as the administration and support staff model for us, we don't want our classrooms to look like that during our guided reading times. So I really like how that teacher said that the guided reading time is sacred. It's the most important part of the whole reading segment. So the next couple of slides are some ideas for how you can keep the students working independently while you're doing your guided reading lesson. You don't have to use them, but you don't have to use them, or you could just, edit them to make it work for your classroom. So these first couple slides are, okay, so the best thing that you can do is to make anchor charts. This first anchor chart is about real reading versus fake reading. And as Ms. Goolsbee said, referring to these anchor charts every day before you start your lesson would be a good idea. The next anchor chart is my favorite, just to make an anchor chart about when it is okay to interrupt my teaching. And it says, if there are aliens, if there's a tornado, if the classroom is flooding, if you are on fire, or if Ryan Gosling walks into the room. So just to reinforce, the anchor charts are going to be really important to help reinforce those procedures in your classroom. So these next, I think, 1 or 2 slides, I think these are going to be for if you find that your students are going to be really independent and are not going to really need your help a whole lot. So this is called Ask 3 Before Me, and so this will be an anchor chart. So number 1, you'll have the students ask their own brain, encourage them to do their own thinking. Number 2, look at what others are doing. Your students are probably going to be sitting in collaborative groups, so encourage them to ask the other students in their group. And then number 3, to ask a friend. So to try to ask, several people before they ask you. And then you'll see in the next couple slides what they will do if they do need your help. So this is for the students who are going to need your help. You can put up something in your class that's going to show your students that you're busy. So this idea is to use a light. So just to turn on the light to show your students that you're busy during your guided reading lesson. I also knew a teacher that would put on a red scarf when she was doing her guided reading lesson, so her students just knew if the scarf was on to leave her alone. And so this next one is for those students, if you start to see that your students really need help in their centers while you're trying to do the guided reading lesson, you can put this up in your classroom. It says waiting for the teacher, and so at the bottom, all the students' names would be at the bottom, and if they need help, then they would come over to the chart and just clip their name up on the arm. And then if you do get the chance during your guided reading lesson, I think we'll talk about it later, but maybe the familiar reading time would be a good time to go help these students, or maybe even after your whole lesson is over. Another idea to put a colored spot on your rug, or just an area where your students know that they can go so that they need help. I would think this would probably be only effective if there was one student. You wouldn't want a whole line of kids. Yeah, and like Ms. Ash said, if they see one, then the rest keep coming. Another idea is the students, I know many of you do like a line order in your class, so maybe your students have a number, so they could take their number and like put it in a basket, and then when you get the chance, you could just go through the numbers and pull the number and then go to that student if they need help. Of course, this would be if they've already done the Ask 3 Before Me. And then another thing you could do, if your students didn't have numbers, then you could give, you could almost do like those numbers like at the grocery store when you're trying to get your lunch meat. And so then you know like which student like needed help first, and then you could go to that student. So those are just some ideas that you can take with you.
So I wanted to show you guys the light that I use, and it's as they use in her room. Mine's a little pink crown. And you turn it on, it lights up, and it says I'm invisible. So I put it on my guided reading table during, yes, real cheap. And they know not to come and bother me during that guided reading time. I know for me personally, I still kind of have a bad habit of still talking to those kids who come up to my table. So I think next year I want to try implementing the Ask 3 also, so you can see I'm busy, go and ask a friend or look and see what they're doing as well. But this light works, and even when I don't turn it off, they still don't bother me, so I'm kind of like that.
Sometimes if they still come up, it can be laying on the table next to you, you can just point to it and remind them. And I also have, when my students are to rotate areas, I have a smaller light that is up on the bulletin board that I turn on, and when they see the light come on, they know it's time for them to change.
I tried my kids, I teach them to do the 3 rules too, and I say, you have to be bleeding, dying, or throwing up to come up to me. And then when they come, they have to stand respectfully, quietly by the table, and then I acknowledge them. Usually I'll go, especially if I'm talking already with some children, I'll go like this to acknowledge them so they won't get impatient. And they know that means that I'm gonna see about whatever it is that they have need of during that time. And it tends to work pretty well, and if it gets too loud, I have a little bell that I just ding a little bit, and then they just quiet down. So that's how I help to manage the, monitor the noise level as well.
As a grade level, we kind of adopted the C3 before me in 5th grade, and it works pretty well. They ask themselves first. If they don't know the answer, ask someone at your group. If they don't know the answer, ask somebody at another group. And that is usually, hopefully, enough people, and they get the answer, they can figure it out themselves. But I think the most important thing is, like the teacher in the video said, making sure that you do every center or activity whole group before you break off into guided reading groups and individual centers, because it will just be chaos in the classroom. But if you do every single center that you're going to have in your classroom, whole group, and make sure everyone knows exactly what to do, how to walk to that center, what to take with them, what they're going to do when they get there, and you do that with each center. It may take a week, it may take 2 weeks, but it doesn't matter, because then when you actually do send them off, they'll know what to do, and you don't have to go back over the instructions. You just say, you know, they see the schedule or however you have in your classroom, this group goes there, and they know what to do there. And it has to be uninterrupted time for guided reading. One other thing I do is at the beginning of the year, just to build their stamina, because I know she was saying that she has them work independently for an hour. And it does seem like a daunting amount of time. You're thinking, okay, my students at the beginning of the year can't sit still for 5 minutes. So have them maybe time them, use a timer and say, okay, we're all going to sit and read, and I'm going to time you, and I'm going to see how long you can read for without looking up, without looking to the side, without talking, without anything. I think you'll be surprised. You might expect more. They can hardly make it 2 minutes at the beginning without someone looking up or looking down. And so if you can build that stamina a little bit, at least you'll get to about 20 minutes or what a center should take in your classroom. That's beneficial as well. And I do that with reading and writing, and I time them. And so that way I know. I can say, I know that you can read for 20 minutes, so don't come up here saying you need to do something else. You can sit and read. That's it. Sorry. Okay. Okay, so you're going to look at the classroom management document right now. It has examples of literacy routines and procedures that you can employ during guided reading. You are then going to divide the document among the people at your table or in your group, you're gonna read it and share some highlights after. So, you can go ahead and look through, do they have them already? Okay, so you should have a packet, and you can just look through it with the group, your grade level, I suppose, that you're sitting with. Different routines, and just talk about it, highlight important things, and then we'll come back together and share.
This is what you have to do. You have well, it's kind of done with step one, you have to, even though this is other than that, you have to your lessons must be vibrant, decisive, and that way.
Great. All right, guys, let's come back to together. I hope you all had great conversations within your groups and you learned something from the article. And I hope that's something that you can continue to do and think about those items and what you just learned moving forward next year. But we're going to go ahead and move on. And what we're going to do is you all actually are going to create a literacy management plan, what we call the LMP. And what is a literacy management plan? It's just think about all the things that we just kind of ponder upon when you were just watching the news and people were talking about different suggestions of what does your guided reading look like in your classroom when you are in your small groups? What is your students doing when you're in your small groups? Where's the location of it? What's the transitions going to look like? So what you're going to do is you can do this as a grade level or you can do it individually, but you're going to come up with your own literacy management plan. And one of the things we want to do is moving forward next year is you're going to have that on a poster in your classroom next year. So when we're going in your classrooms and we're looking, that's what the expectation is. So students can see it as well as anyone else coming in your classroom. They know immediately what the expectation is for your classroom. So what you're going to do is you're going, like I said, you can do the work at grade levels or individually. And I want you to ponder about all these ideas. What are the students doing while you're conducting guided reading groups? Where will you meet in your guided reading groups? And what will the interruptions look like? What would you do? They gave some really good suggestions, but everyone's unique and everyone has their own ideas. So what is something that you would want to come up and do? Okay. All right, so every grade level has a packet. All right, in color paper. There's markers on your table. So you can kind of come up as a group of consensus of what you all will want to do in your classroom. Okay? We're going to give you about 10 minutes to go ahead and get started.
Okay. Start on number 3. I'm not excluding, I'm just whatever. Okay.
How many of these are?
My personal secret I think when I was in second grade, I think I used one for sharpening my pencil. Yeah, right. Well, when I was in second grade, I would have made that for sharpening my pencil.
And this applies to the instead of it rotate,
I think I see. I think you could have. I like that.
Yes.
have 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes.
All activities start out, usually start out small. I don't play. Maybe we're doing a CDC activity. That's all we can. I guess that would. I'm thinking like, yeah, each one puzzle.
Read actions, table,
Something that I did not do this year. I just used to
You had some questions about the slideshow and the anchor charts that were provided in the slideshow. So this slideshow will be on the collaborative training page, so we'll upload it. All right, well, it is time to wrap it up, so we would like you to go and talk with someone at another table about something interesting you learned today or something you're going to implement in the next school year. So stand up, go mingle with someone else, a different table.